Mysterious lights, dogs barking, strange plants, piles of feces. Oak Street is going through an unusual time at the start of this 1982 set film. Then, the biggest storm and flash of light sends the entire neighbourhood to a place quite unexpected. Unless you've seen the trailers, which give away far too much. Oak Street is a fun, thrilling, enjoyable time. It's a film you need to turn your brain off for and just experience the screaming, the running, the tension and the excitement as it happens, because it's also quite absurd. At the centre of the film is a family headed by Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway. They're your quintessential happy American family, at least looking in from the outside. In reality, the parents are arguing and bickering. The kids are worried about a potential divorce, while also coming to learn who they are as individuals. And there's a family dog which, like many dogs, isn't perfect but has its charms. The central relationships make for a relatable, somewhat likeable family dynamic. Even if many of the characters spend a large sum of the film arguing with one another, it's Anne Hathaway who steals the show, putting on another emotional performance. Her fourth this year if my counting is accurate. She's a woman in a time period in which feminism is on the rise and the old notions of a strong masculine figure at the head of the family are starting to fade. The arc she goes on as a character, rather quickly learning what she is and isn't capable of, is handled well, even if some of the resolution comes across as a little rushed and convenient. Ewan McGregor, meanwhile, is an affable husband, a charming father, and a not so convincing American. Accent aside, he's likeable, but his character is rarely painted in a positive light, perhaps harshly so at times. The family dog is another significant character in Oak Street, bugging neighbours with its barking, but being loved by the children and the father. The problem is that the central family doesn't treat the dog in an overtly positive or caring way. In fact, many of them seem to shrug their shoulders and push it aside whenever possible. Yet we're supposed to believe this dog is a loved and respected member of the family, despite the negative treatment it receives. It's hard to dive into the story and the plot of Oak Street without spoiling what exactly it's about. If you've seen one of the larger trailers, you'll know. But that is supposed to be a big twist in the film. Luckily, there is another big twist later in the film that is surprisingly shocking, if very abrupt. There's then another more predictable twist even later that brings everything full circle and provides some sense of closure. These twists and surprises, as well as a slow, tense build of its central mystery, work well for Oak Street. Unlike some recent films featuring similar settings and points of focus, there's genuine tension and scares to be had in Oak Street. The sound design, the camera work, all work well in tandem to make this an emotional roller coaster of a film. That and the short runtime means that the film is never dull, slow or boring. It's just a little predictable outside of its one non-spoiled twist. I knew who would and wouldn't make it to the end. The film has some fodder side characters with limited screen time to help make up some of the thrills. I also knew how the film would end fairly early on, because there had to be some closure and resolution, and there were very few possibilities outside the obvious. Linking into this is the time period. Why is Oak Street set in 1982? It's not entirely clear. There's attention to period detail from cars to costumes, props and sometimes music too, but the 80s setting does little to nothing for the film. It's never a major element of the story, the characters or the themes or messaging. Setting it in any other time period changes nothing about it. So why 1982? I don't know. The end of Oak Street is an enjoyable time. It's thrilling, it has moments of tension and mystery, it's shot well, paced well, with a pleasing short runtime. Anne Hathaway is great in it. It won't be on many people's best films of the year list. It's also a little silly and absurd at times, with a notable lack of humour or levity. But it works, and it hooked me in from beginning to end.